being with me today. My name is Sue, and this is Fireside Chat. So, today I'd like to follow up on a show that I did yesterday with Jacob Ennis, and we talked about some videos that were showing what his company that he works at. They're called the Center for Simulation and Innovation. And we were talking about some of the developments that they've come up with in the last few months and that they're continually perfecting. And so he very kindly sent me two things that I can show you. One of them has some audio and the other one does not. But what I'll do is I'll just be quiet during both of them. So yeah, that's really amazing what his company is doing, and I'm really pleased to hear about applications that also apply to like marketing. And so I wanted to show like a business card that he did like a demo, and it's amazing because you look at this business card, and it just looks like it's like this flat, two-dimensional thing on a table, but he points his phone at it, and you would not believe what happens. So I think it's amazing that they've developed something like this. It would be great for networking. Because actually, the first time I met Jacob, we met at an Office Evolution networking in Troy. And he said, Sue, it's really great to meet you and thank you for your card, but I don't actually have any business cards on me. But if you scan this QR code on my LinkedIn profile, then it'll go to my contact information. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I had no idea like what he does on a daily basis. That is unbelievably cool. And I think it's so wonderful to have him on because I feel that his everyday life is using AI and developing things that, the market hasn't seen yet. And so I'm really thrilled to have people like this on the show that kind of show us what is possible. And I think that that's so incredible, really, to see what's coming up and what's possible. So I'll show the business card demo right now. So I don't know why, but there's someone kind of yelling in the background here, and I'm really sorry about that because it's really loud. I hope that you can hear me all right. And it's just really embarrassing. But please forgive the background unwanted noise. And there kind of isn't anything I can do about that, but I'm very sorry about this.
They won't hear it.
Oh, good. Okay, good. That's super. Thank you, Chris. Okay, great. So, yeah, I wanted to show that video, and that's their business card sim demo. So, he kind of created a sort of a sim of himself, like a simulation, and he kind of animated it. And so, that was him in the foreground there. So, what someone is doing is they're holding their cell phone up, and then the business card is like here on the surface, right? So they put their business card on the table, and you hold your phone so that you can actually have it, in a sense, come to life. So then, with the person whose phone it is that they're holding up, they get like this three-dimensional image of you, and you can have any background that you want behind you. So he showed a variety of backgrounds. There was like a Japanese tea garden, and there was like, I don't know, a mountain, and all different kinds of backgrounds. And then it had like these small blocks in front of him. There was about 5 of these little blocks kind of on the ground, but in front of him. And what that was those are his social media kind of icons that if you click on Facebook or you click on Instagram, you go right to his social media. And so that's amazing. It's incredible how I think that's just such an interesting way of like having someone remember you, like they meet you, and you would probably be the only one at the networking who had a 3D sim that would come to life, and all you do is hand them your business card, and they're just using their phone, and they're just like shooting. They're just like have your card in the on the screen there, and it just completely comes to life. So I think that's amazing. I hope that you think that's interesting. And so the other one that we have is this one does have some talking. I hope that you can hear it. And if you can't hear it very well, then I'll talk about it afterwards. So please don't worry.
60-second adventures in economics. Number 1, the invisible hand.
It is a maxim of every prudent master of a family never to attempt to make at home what will cost him more to make than to buy. The tailor does not attempt to make his own shoes, but buys them of the shoemaker. The shoemaker does not attempt to make his own clothes, but employs a tailor.
Welcome to the Essential Ideas of Milton Friedman.
So that's pretty amazing, isn't it? So you can see that the phone is in the foreground. And so what you're doing is you can put it on a poster or even like something like in a museum exhibit, for example. So when you hold your phone up, you don't just see what's on the poster, but the content that has been kind of layered inside of this program shows you then some of their work. And if you could see when he kind of like tracked the phone to the left, and then you kind of saw this figure kind of coming to life, and he looked at the camera, and so that's a really amazing way to help education, because what happened is you are kind of programming what you want to have happen, what you want to display when someone trains their phone on an exhibit. and then you can have the actual person. So there was this economist, Friedrich Hayek. I hope I'm saying his name right. And so they're actually having like someone, in a sense, explain their own work. So you can interact with the sim, and it's such an interesting way of experiencing a museum, because instead of it being static images and like a poster and a bust of something, it's actually the economist is turning and looking at you and actually telling you about what their work is all about. And so it's such an amazing way to appeal to people who are kind of like want something that's kind of fun and kind of totally different, right? So yeah, it's amazing that that they've kind of created this. So you can see that not only is it something that is, kind of interesting to watch. It's you remember things so much better if you have different media, and then you kind of assimilate that information so much easier. You can imagine like taking a child to a museum and having these exhibits come to life and tell you about what they're known for, and you're just kind of like enjoying it. You're just sort of looking at different exhibits that you find interesting. And I think it's amazing that this technology is already being developed. And that's why I love to know about all this, because it's so interesting, and it just lends a whole different dimension to learning. So I think that he even told me yesterday during the show that textbooks actually can have like embedded kind of QR codes and content where you train your phone at the textbook on one of these kind of programmed, codes or, scans of QR codes. And then the content can sort of like animate, and it can bring a whole different dimension to just reading a textbook. So I feel like, yeah, like it's true for me too. Like about 2 years ago, I was taking a lot of courses, and it was just so much reading. And, you just get tired, and your neck and back get tired of being in a same position for so long. And you're trying to like get through as much of the material as you can, but you have to kind of get up and step away and, kind of like maybe go outside for a little bit and then come back in and go back to it to kind of refresh your brain. And I think that's a really good idea. Apparently, if you like are studying for an hour, I've heard that taking every 20 minutes to have a little 5-minute break just to get away from, your book or from the screen, and then go get yourself a drink, or just kind of just go step outside for a few minutes, and then kind of like let your brain kind of assimilate the information before adding more. And so I think that that's really good advice. I definitely feel like that's very useful. The other thing I'd like to offer is that there's programs like apps that you can have on your desktop or you can have in your phone. And one of them is called Natural Reader. And Natural Reader, you can choose which person's voice you like. You kind of click on their name, and then you click on what speed you want them to read at. So you can read at 1/2 times speed, or 1 times speed, or 1.5 times. And you can still like understand what they're saying, but it saves you all of that physical effort of having to sit and read or sit in front of a computer, and you just actually have the text read to you. So it's really easy to use. When I use it, I kind of upload a PDF into the program Natural Reader, and then you kind of like press play when you're ready, and you can kind of skip to what information you actually want it to read. So you could kind of skip the introduction, you can skip a foreword, and you can kind of go to which chapter you need. You kind of click it in place, and what Natural Reader does is it highlights, I think it's in green, what it's currently reading. And as it goes down the page, it just kind of like highlights as it goes down. So you always know like where it's reading from. And then if there's like an image or something that you'd like to skip over, then you just kind of like can click to where you want, and then it'll continue reading from that point. It's really amazing because you can actually walk around, or you could go for a walk, or you could be cooking, and you could be like exercising and still kind of like get your course reading done. And that's amazing. Also, it's just, I think you kind of can think about it differently than if you're just reading all the time. It's kind of nice to have that auditory kind of input, because some people are more auditory than visual. And so for people who might have eye problems, or they might have blue light kind of eye strain problems, like LED eye strain, can be really helpful because you don't actually have to look at the screen to get the content. And so the other thing I like to do is kind of when I'm ready to kind of settle down and go to bed, I like to have something read to me so that you're not looking at a screen and that there's no kind of blue light. And so some apps, you can have like a black screen, and it can, read a story to you. Like the app is called Calm, CALM. And you just put it on, and it just kind of like gives your mind something to sort of focus on gently. And then you often just drift off into sleep. So that's kind of a really nice thing to know about, right? And the other thing is you could just put a YouTube video on and let someone just kind of talk about what the video is about. If they're talking about true crime, you don't actually have to see them talking into their microphone. You could actually just turn your phone over, right? And then have it just, the sound is on. And that's kind of another way you can just drift off to sleep. So we're really lucky to have access to tools that do make studying and learning easier. And I think that, the things that he's talking about, it's incredible. You can put something in the foreground, you can create the background, you can put layers of information or images, and the person's experience looking at their phone is a whole different experience than, just going into a museum or a place and just seeing what's there physically. So I hope that that's interesting to you, because I find that really interesting. He's going to be bringing us some more updated video of what they'll be working on, what they're currently working on, and what they're getting ready to kind of launch. And so I know that we don't want to talk about anything that isn't ready for launch. So, but I do appreciate him coming on the show and telling us about different things that they're working on. So yesterday, it was really kind of interesting to see that he made an avatar of me, and then kind of animated the avatar, gave her a voice, I guess that's similar to mine, and then asked her questions. And it was kind of neat, because you think, my gosh, like you can actually have her go to work and, make her useful, because, there's definitely things you can do that use AI to create content and things like that. I really enjoy coming in the physical studio and having this space available to me. So I'm not going to be like switching to AI, instead of this, because I love coming in here and working with the wonderful people at the station. The station is CMN TV, and they are, what's a PEG? So I think it's like a public access kind of, studio. And they have like a big studio where you could, have directors, and they have soundboards and things like that. But this little studio, it's called the Solo Studio Pro. And, there's like 5 mics set up right now. There's like 9 cameras. So you could have a podcast kind of show. You could have just yourself talking, or you could have a guest sitting opposite you, and you can create content. So just really grateful for this, because I always thought, it'd be so much fun to have a show, but what would I talk about? And I don't know what to say, and I'm not an expert, and things. So I was just never thought I could do this, but I'm really grateful to the people here. Kevin was very patient, sat me down and told me how things kind of work enough that I could just produce a show. And so really glad. I was very happy to have Jacob come back yesterday and kind of give us an update on what AR and VR they're working on. My own experience of AR was when Pokemon Go came out. My kids were playing Pokemon Go, and we went for a kind of a walk to the local library, and it was so cool because in all of the library grounds, there were all these people, like I'd say like 50 to 100 people all walking around with their phones and like experiencing like, oh, look, there's Eevee and there's Plusle and there's these different characters would come out from behind a tree or over the bridge or under the bridge or whatever. And so it's really exciting because like everybody there was older than my kids and they were like, oh, this is amazing. And it's cool too because there was like a pathway that kind of intersected with another pathway just kind of nearby the library. And at that intersection, there was a Pokemon gym. So there was like a guy there and he was like, if anybody wants to battle me, like I'm ready. And so you could literally go to that intersection, those two paths, and you could like fight Pokemon. So I just, I thought that was one of the sweetest things like we've ever done, my kids and I, because to do that today would be impossible because they live in so far away, but I'm really glad we did that time. And that was augmented reality. The other thing that a lot of people are familiar with in augmented reality is Snapchat, filters and things like that you see people on Facebook and different places that they're sharing their pictures, of themselves as a cat or as a bunny or, a reindeer or something with like a little nose and their like antlers and whatever. And so it's really cute. Like that's a nice use of augmented reality. So I've never used a VR headset. I just have never really had the opportunity. I know Jacob owns a couple. And I was surprised that Apple came out with a really good quality VR headset maybe about a year or two ago. Not sure like what that would be like because I think that it would completely trick my brain into thinking that I really was, whatever you're seeing. If you're like on a ski slope or something, I would definitely feel like it was actually happening because it's so immersive, right? Like you're surrounded by this, what you're seeing, these images, and it feels like it's real, doesn't it? It really feels like you're actually there. So I definitely have seen people kind of, like if they're playing some kind of game and they're kind of like fighting like this and they're in midair and sometimes people have kind of tripped over furniture or they've kind of gone into a wall because they honestly don't see what's around them, right? They just know what they're interacting with. And so it can be kind of like a bit dangerous because you could fall into furniture and you can maybe, crack your TV screen or whatever. And so I don't really have any experience of that. But I love augmented reality. It's really cool that Jacob gets to use AI in his daily job. And so I find like it's really good to just have a little bit of interest in AI and just kind of like see where it might be able to help you in your business. So just like he talked yesterday that they are helping with marketing, and the really good example of that was the business card sim that I showed earlier. Education, marketing, and I think just developing intelligent products and just there's so many applications for AI. And I was talking to him yesterday. I said, do you have to code very much? And he said that his job, he still has to code, but there's like sections of code that are done really quickly by AI. And so he could actually save some time. And it's kind of like having someone coding with you. And the more tedious parts, could be done by the AI. But it's really good to kind of just give it a little bit of control, not too much control, because, we want to be fully in control of everything we're doing. And we don't want to have like undesired effects or unseen or what's the word? Things you don't want for the AI to kind of present you or to give you back. So yeah, I think it's great. I'm looking forward to having him on again, and but I just really wanted to show the videos that he sent over. And yeah, whenever he has a chance, I'll have him come back on. And what we might do is we could actually have people call in to the station, and we'll put the number on the screen for when we do that. And then people could actually call in, and then they could ask Jacob questions and talk to him about any kind of project or any kind of thing that you're working on or would like to work on. And then he can comment and he can tell you, yeah, I've done that before, or this is what I found works. And then, it's just kind of a cool way to connect with him. Yeah, he's just a really great guy. I met him at networking, and so I think that was in October. And he's come in person to also play Dungeons and Dragons. And he's just such a nice person, and he's just so smart, but he's very humble. And so he's a wonderful friend. And I hope you've enjoyed the videos that he sent over. And we'll definitely be showing more. I hope that you enjoyed the avatar yesterday that he made of me, and that he was asking questions. I hope that you were able to hear the answers. But luckily, he put on screen like captioning, so you could actually see what we were talking. Not really me. It's the sim, not me, but what he was saying to the sim and what the sim was saying back. It was really great that he put that on the screen. So yeah, I really hope that you're enjoying this journey, and I really hope that we're going to keep doing things that are kind of what people are developing and how AI is going and how things are going with marketing and education and psychology, things like that. It's just been an absolute pleasure being able to talk with you, and I hope that you enjoy the content. And if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fireside Chat TV. And also, they gave us a code TT4EY is our kind of code. But yeah, this is so much fun, and I really hope that everyone enjoys this. And I'm happy to keep doing this work and finding new things to talk about, and educate people. So thank you so much. Have a great day.